All right, let's jump right in. You know, in the world of software, getting your app to talk to a database is just fundamental. It's bread and butter. But what happens when you need it to talk to a whole bunch of different kinds of databases? Well, that's where the real challenge begins.
So, picture this. You're building an app. It needs customer info from a SQL server, but it also has to grab order histories from an Oracle database and pull sales goals from a plain old Excel spreadsheet. How on earth do you connect to all three without your code becoming this huge, tangled mess?
And here we are at the heart of the issue. See, every single database management system, or DBMS, has its own unique way of communicating, its own native API. If you try to write custom code for each one, it's not just inefficient, it's a total nightmare to keep up with. You'd basically have to learn a new language for every single data source you add.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just write your database commands one time and have them, magically work everywhere? Well, as it turns out, some very clever people were asking that exact same question way back in the early 90s.
And the solution they came up with is ODBC, which stands for Open Database Connectivity. You should think of it exactly like that universal translator we were just talking about. It's a standard that lets your application speak SQL, and it makes sure that no matter what database is on the other end, it gets the message. It was a complete game changer for accessing data that lives in tables. So how does this magic actually work? Well, your application doesn't talk straight to the database. Nope, it only talks to one thing, the ODBC driver manager. The driver manager is kind of like a switchboard operator. It looks at the request and goes, this one's for Oracle, and passes it to the specific Oracle driver. That driver does the final translation, the database does its thing, and the data flows right back. All the while, your application has no idea how complicated it all was. That is a great question. I mean, the driver manager is smart, but it can't read minds. It needs a set of instructions. It needs to know where the database is, how to get in, and which driver to use. That whole set of instructions is called a data source name, or DSN for short. And these DSNs come in three main flavors. You've got a user DSN, which is just for you, on your computer. Then there's the system DSN, which is available to anyone or any background service running on that same machine. This is super common for things like web servers. And finally, a file DSN, which is really cool because it bundles all the connection info into a little file you can email or share with your team. And actually, setting one of these up is pretty painless. In Windows, you just open up the ODBC Administrator tool, you pick the type you want, like a system DSN, choose the right driver from a list, and then just fill in the boxes. What's the server name? How do I log in? And so on. And, the best part is hitting that test button at the end and seeing connection successful pop up.
Okay, so ODBC is a rock star for relational databases. We get it. But our world of data started to get a lot bigger and a lot messier. What about all the data that doesn't live in clean rows and columns? We're talking file systems, email servers, Word documents, you name it. ODBC just wasn't built for that kind of world.
And this new reality created a need for something way more ambitious. We didn't just need a universal translator for tables anymore. We needed a universal framework for getting to any kind of data in any format, no matter where it was stored. And that's when OLEDB enters the picture. This was Microsoft's answer, and it took a totally different approach, an object-oriented one. Instead of just translating SQL, the idea behind OLEDB was to break down the features of any data server into a standard set of building blocks, or objects, that any app could understand and use.
I mean, the goals here were massive. First, create an interface to any data type. Second, let people build on top of it and add new features. Third, process data right where it lives without having to copy it all over the place. And fourth, handle transactions that touch multiple, totally different systems all at once. This was a vision for truly universal access to data.
Right, that's the magic phrase, isn't it? Object-oriented. It's the key difference. While ODBC is procedural, you send a command, you get a result back. OLEDB is all about objects. And to really get what OLEDB is doing, we've got to talk about a few of those core ideas real quick.
So first up is abstraction. This is just a fancy word for hiding the messy details. OLEDB does this with a really powerful idea called a row set. Just think of a row set as a universal container for data. It doesn't matter if that data came from a SQL table or an email inbox. To your app, it all looks like a simple, standard set of rows. A row set. That's abstraction in a nutshell.
Now, those row sets we just mentioned, they're called objects. And an object is just a neat way to package data and actions together. It has properties, its characteristics like how many columns are in here, or can I update this data? And it has methods, the actions it can perform, like give me the next row or delete this row. That bundle of properties and methods is its interface, and it's how our app knows how to talk to it.
And finally, we have collections. A collection is super simple. It's an object whose only job is to hold a group of other objects. So you might have a tables collection. Inside that collection are a bunch of individual table objects, and each of those might hold a columns collection. It's just like a set of nested folders, giving you a clean, organized map to any data source.
That is the perfect question to tie all of this together. We've got these two powerful technologies, but they're clearly very different. So, when would you use one over the other? Let's put them side by side and make it crystal clear.
This really breaks it down perfectly. ODBC is your specialist. Its one job is tabular data, and its approach is procedural. It speaks SQL. It's a fantastic universal translator. OLEB, on the other hand, is the generalist. Its goal is any data source, and its approach is object-oriented. So it's much more like a universal remote control for all of your data.
So, the bottom line is this. ODBC is for when your data sources are different, but still fundamentally similar. They're all tables. OLDB was built for a world where your data could be literally anything. It was designed for diversity.
So in the end, we have two really powerful but distinct tools. Each one was built for a different time and for a completely different set of problems. It's not about one being better, it's about knowing you have two different tools for two very different jobs.
And I think this quote just sums it all up perfectly. The technology didn't change just for fun. It had to evolve, because what we even called data was exploding from simple tables into this whole universe of diverse information.
All right, so let's do a quick lightning round of the key things to remember. ODBC, your standard for tables, using that simple driver-based approach. OLEDB, the more powerful, object-oriented framework for any data source. And the choice between them? It all comes down to how diverse your data really is.
We really hope this explainer helped clear things up. And if it did, a quick like, share, or subscribe really does help us out and lets us keep making more of these deep dives. We'd really appreciate it.
And that brings us to one last thing to think about. We've gone from tables to all sorts of files, but now, with data coming from AI models and being stored in all these new unstructured ways, what do you think the next universal bridge is going to look like? What is the OLEDB of tomorrow? Thanks for tuning in.